trust me, it will have a way of, changing the mindset of the generations coming behind us. So I do believe that the film industry and the television industry have the very strong capacity to be able to influence the beliefs.
Out there with an intended message, or the viewer who may or may not have understood the message that the filmmaker wanted to put across. Who is to blame?
In talking about the negative influence of film on the society, I think that a lot of times it is how the audience perceive it. And so that boils down to storytelling also in Nollywood. While I won't completely exonerate the industry, I think that we have to also do better in our storytelling in terms of how it is structured. But I know ultimately that after that, almost every Nollywood movie has a lesson at the end of the duration, because there's always a trajectory to how somebody goes from being poor, he accesses wealth, and then he lives the life, and then there are always consequences to that. Living in Bondage, which was redone recently by Play Network, produced by Steve Gukas and directed by Ramsey Noah, is a typical example of how you can go from poor grace to grass. It told the story of a young man who went to the city and kind of got involved with fetish things and fetish people, and ended up with a life that he didn't bargain for, but then there were repercussions for his actions. We've seen a lot of these stories in Nollywood. I can bet you that almost every story that has had to reflect on voodooism or rituals and whatever always had there's always an ending to the story that says a lesson must be learned. So I'll first of all say that Nollywood will have to structure our stories better, in which we're getting better at that. And then for the audience, do not just take one aspect of the story. There's always a consequence for the actions, and so it's also how they perceive it and how they receive it that is a problem. But I will confidently say to you that most of the young people involved in rituals today are inspired by Nollywood, because a lot of them don't even watch Nollywood films. Trust me, they do not have the time. They're not the ones that are going to the cinema to go and watch movies. They're not the ones that are watching online. And in most of the online shows now, you hardly see any voodoo in them. I mean, is it the men's club you're talking about? Is it Giddy Up? Or is it most of the Indani productions? A lot of them really rarely have those,